Between anxiety and collapse. Yeah. I let out a scream. What is it? Yomogi was there in front of me. What happened? The one that was chasing after me was Yomogi? Why was he at Sphere? Another fit. Yomogi stared at me. Wait, what? Is she saying that she saw Yomogi? Or something else? Oh. She thought that she was still at Sphere and that Yomogi was there, but no, she switched. I see, so a personality exchange occurred. I was sitting on a wooden bed. This isn't Sphere. This is the shelter cabin. Yet whether because the flame in the stove was too small or something else, it was freezing cold. My breath was so wide it felt like it might turn into ice any moment. I'm wrapped up to my shoulders in my blanket. My heart continued to hammer like an alarm bell. Because my mind suddenly transferred while I was in a crisis, my body may still be reacting to it. You look pale, you're right. I'm fine. I nodded to Yomogi and returned to my own bed. Okay, that was weird. I nodded to Yomogi and returned to my own bed. After covering myself with the blanket, I closed my eyes. Really, I wasn't alright at all. I wanted to shout out loud for someone to save me. The fear of hunger and freezing to death. I'm slowly dying here at the shelter cabin. And at Sphere, the hand of the murderous monster draws even nearer. Being exposed to a never-ending succession of different terrors, my spirit is shattered. My heart didn't have time to calm down. If things keep on going on like this, I'll break. I muttered through shivering lips. But now wasn't the time to be whining. While being chased by someone with a knife, my personality transferred to the shelter cabin. Right now, Satoru's personality should be inside his body, which meant he suddenly transferred into a body while still being pursued by that person. Is Satoru alright? I was incredibly uneasy. I felt guilty escaping to the shelter cabin as Satoru was being assaulted. Be safe. Joining my hands together, I muttered as if praying. Then I heard Maizumi shouting, "It's too cold!" The bed began to creak. Maizumi was trembling. Be quiet and sit down. If we don't conserve, there will be nothing left by morning. Do you want to die? I feel like I'm dying right now. Yomogi opened his mouth to complain, but only a sigh emerged. There's no other choice. Yomogi stood up from his bed and approached the stove. He started throwing the pile of firewood into the stove. Soon after, the fire grew larger and the air became warmer. Damn, at this pace, it won't last until morning. Even though he said that, he was trembling as well. He held his hands over the stove. Even as such an experienced mountaineer, Yomogi found the cold in the shelter cabin unbearable. His decision to build up the fire may have been based on his judgment that we'd all end up dying from the cold if things continued as they were. I started thinking to myself while blowing on my frozen fingers with my breath. Well, if I were to disappears at this rate, how cold will it get? I couldn't even imagine. Satoru said he was at ease here. However, with this, there probably isn't any comfortable ground left for him, because with each passing moment, the place is further transfigured into a freezing hell. However, Sphere was also hell in another sense. Is Satoru really alright? That's right. I took out the VR with a shaking hand. My other hand clumsily hit the playback switch. A message began to play. Cocoro, this very moment I'm being chased through Sphere. I ended up jumping here right after I was attacked. Begging you, please make it out safely. Damn it, not being able to do anything so irritating. Your personality ended up dying because of me. I don't know how I would ever be able to apologize to you. Don't even mind if I lose an arm. So please be safe somehow, Cocoro. The tone of the message sounded almost as if he was throwing up blood. The murderous monster had begun attacking before I transferred, and then in the middle of the attack Satoru and I exchanged personalities. That's why he was so impatient. I'm safe, but this time I'm worried about Satoru. My wristwatch, as I thought, was in my pocket. I'd usually get angry right about now, but right now, as my wristwatch being taken off allowed me to be able to feel his existence. I'm positive that Satoru, who was inside me, had jumped back to Sphere, just as danger drew near. Please be alright. I closed my eyes and clasped my hands together, and desperately pray while shivering from the cold. Here we go. DID breakout. I blinked several times. I understood immediately that I had transferred. The time period between the transfers was strangely short this time. I held my breath and looked around. This is the basement storeroom of Sphere. Someone was after Satoru. The murderous monster may be hiding somewhere, targeting me at this very moment. Hi? Hey! And all of a sudden, a hellish scene appeared before my eyes. Whoa! I was speechless. What the hell? I began to doubt my own eyes. In front of me was the corpse of someone I did not recognize. Crimson blood was flowing out of the man's body. The body had transformed. The blood had formed a pool that was spreading across the floor. All I could smell was the scent of rusted iron coming from the blood. Nausea rose in my throat. I covered my mouth to hold back. What is this? Who is this? I had thought that Satoru was about to die, but now some man I didn't know lay dead before me. What was happening? Just what is going on? Is this going to be like, I don't know, some kind of weird thing where the killer has a thing for Satoru and is basically trying to kill people that try to kill him? Is that what's going to happen? Like, people are trying to kill Satoru, and Kaiko, for example, probably has a thing for him, so she's like, I'll kill anyone who tries killing you. That'd be hilarious if that's so. In that case, the Togami voice is better suited for Satoru. Seeing someone's presence, I jumped up and looked. Ooh, it is Kaiko. Itori was standing stock still next to the corpse. Her clothes and her hands were covered in blood. The fresh blood on her body and her clothes were still wet. And in her hands was a knife dyed red. What? It can't be. An ominous premonition came to mind. And rather than a premonition, it was a conviction. Nobushi Kaiko had awoken. The personality of the murderous monster within her is awoken. I don't think so. I think it is is it Hidori? Hitori? Because just look at her face. She's scared. Did she kill this man in front of me? Does this mean she was the one after Satoru? Hitori was staring at me blankly. Gulped as my breath caught in my throat. My knees trembled. Our eyes met. Her eyes were hollow and somehow frail. Suddenly, Hitori blinked several times. She looked down at her body and the knife she was holding. Panicking, she threw the knife away. She looked at me again. This time, her eyes widened. Before my eyes, Hitori turned pale. She started to shake her head slowly at first, and gradually increasing in intensity. She took one step towards me. She extended a blood-soaked hand to me. Unable to take it, I took a step backwards. Confused by what was happening, Hitori opened her mouth, but only a wheezing sound came from my throat. I trembled in fear as she continued shaking her head. Every time she took a step forward, I took one step backwards. No. Hitori drew closer and closer. Blood dripped down from her extended hand. Her blood-stained hand looked like a tentacle limb of the devil coming to take my life. Stay away. Before I realized that I was backed up into a corner of the room. My back hit a shelf. A wooden box on the shelf made a sound as abrupt as a gunshot as it fell. Huh? I heard a scream from close by. Hitori and I looked in the direction of the voice at the same time. Behind the shelf was the shadow of a small person. It was Uni. Covering his head with his arms and trembling, Uni slowly raised his eyes. His face was distorted with tears. His eyes were swollen and had turned a deep red. Why is Uni here? I got more and more confused. My head was totally blank, as I simply stood bewildered at the incomprehensible situation before me. Uni was terribly frightened. Once again, he lowered his head and covered it with his arms. You dead? I think. He was muttering something in a small voice. Going to be murdered, everyone's going to die. Going to be murdered? By whom? And the blood's miraculously gone. I looked at Hitori. His eyes were gazing off somewhere far away. He continued to wheeze as he spoke. Uni continued to murmur in a shaky voice between sobs, but it didn't seem like he was able to speak the way he wanted. Lies. Everyone is lying. Hitori didn't kill. What? What did he say? Everyone's lying. Hitori didn't kill? And who killed the man? Did Satoru did it? My throat was completely dry. It was painful to breathe. My heart continued pounding furiously. Why was Uni here? Why was he crying like this? Does Uni actually know everything about Mai and Satori's personality transfers? What if being an innocent child like that, now that doesn't know anything, was really just an act? What if the one lying was Uni? It can't be. For a child like him to have done that, it can't be. Despite all the calm reasoning I had done deep in my heart, I had begun to think that there was something eerie about Uni. This child, just who is he? It can't be. But why did he kill that man? Did he attack Satori? Somebody, answer me. I don't know what's going on anymore. What happened? I heard a new voice coming from the stairs that were connected to the kitchen. Itsumi climbed down the stairs anxiously. Where had she been, and what has she been doing until now? Driven to a corner by distrust, I wondered that momentarily. When I was being chased by that someone before, Itsumi had been nowhere to be seen. Was she someone I could trust? Itsumi slowly looked around the room, not paying attention to my suspicious glare. And then surprised by the corpse. This is... Continued to look at the blood-covered Hattori, curving her lips slightly. She grinned and laughed. Huh? I'm sure I saw it. I hadn't overlooked it. A chill ran down my spine. Why? Why was Itsumi laughing right now? Did you kill him? Huh? You killed him, didn't you? Itsumi started talking in a calm voice. Couldn't understand why she was so calm. Itsumi's eyes immediately locked onto Hattori. When Hattori noticed her gaze, huh? She tore at her own hair with her own blood-soaked hands. Her beautiful long hair became disordered and messy. The red blood soaked into her black hair. Itsumi slowly shut her eyes halfway. I thought I saw her smile for a moment. Terrified, I couldn't even raise my voice. You are dangerous. You can't just let a murderous monster run loose. It was as though Uni and I were not in Itsumi's field of vision at all. Her gaze didn't move an inch from Hattori was. You're too dangerous, please... Why? Please die! Eh? What did she say? What did Itsumi say? No, this isn't the normal Itsumi. Can't believe anyone. Don't know anything. Everyone's lying. Crimes must be punished. No! Incited by Itsumi's words, Hattori started shrieking. She was having a fit. But did that mean that the personality that was in control now was actually Hattori? Wasn't she Inabushi Kaiko? Breathing widely, Hattori's gaze dropped to the floor. Itsumi's was looking in the same direction. I followed their eyes. The knife. The blood-covered knife that had fallen next to the body. All three of us had our sights fixed on the knife. Between the three of us, the distance to the knife was more or less the same. Now I'm a little bit further away. A feeling of strain and tension held the room in its grasp. Nobody moved a finger. In order not to show any openings, I watched their movements closely. As if keeping each other in check, we stared at the knife at each other's faces relentlessly. My thoughts go around in circles. That knife was a weapon for protecting myself. If I got my hands on it, it wouldn't land in the hands of the murderous monster. The other two in the room, three if you count Uni, who's crying in the corner. If one of them snatches it away, my life will be in immeasurable danger. I don't know who the culprit is, there's no way I'll hand the knife over to anyone else. But the instant I got my hands on the knife, everyone but the culprit himself will misunderstand and think that the murderous monster is me. The real culprit managed to take advantage of the opening. Not just me, but everyone else will also be killed. Besides, assuming I can get the knife, can I even use it properly? When the time comes, can I stab the murderous monster if they attack? There's no way, even if I was to protect myself, to kill someone. What should I do? What do I do? Ah! Screaming, Hattori sprang forward. Usami too made her move without a moment's delay. Only my reaction was late. No good, I weren't reaching in time. Try taking it away. I jumped towards the knife. My movements were surprisingly quick. That's right, I'm in Satori's body right now. Faster and stronger than I usually am. If I can manage to snatch away the knife, I won't lose those two. I reached for the knife with all my might. But... Intense pain shot through my head. Dominant arm, Satori's left arm, was cut. My fingers brushed the knife for an instant, but I wasn't able to grasp it. The bloody knife slid across the floor. It stopped right at Hattori's feet. Hattori took it in hand as if clinging to it. Hattori and Itsumi glared at each other, separated by the corpse between them. I all but rolled into a standing position. Letting out a voiceless scream, Hattori grabbed the knife. Hattori had a desperate look on her face. However, tears rolled softly down her cheeks. Why was she crying? Give it to me! Itsumi commanded in a sharp voice I had never even heard before. Hattori shook her head and pointed the knife at Itsumi with trembling hands. Itsumi stood back with an impatient look. You're gonna kill again? You're gonna kill me this time? No! Suddenly Uni screamed out, "Stop it!" Whoops, I keep on clicking off the game. Stop it! He stood up with an amazing vigor and started running, covering his head with his arms. Another moment to spare. Tori and Natsumi were equally surprised. Huh? Tori seemed frightened. She was clearly very confused. Letting out a scream, she swung the knife randomly. From right beside her, Uni turned and... What? Ooh! Ooh, it seemed that what would occur next was the result of Uni being in the wrong place at the wrong time, not because he was targeted. Grr! God damn, holy crap! Fresh blood splattered everywhere. Uni's small body lost its strength, collapsed. No! He's dead, Uni's dead. No! A portable radio flew out of Uni's grasp from the impact of its fall. The radio fell with a crushing sound and slid over to where I stood. Deranged, Satori headed for Itsami, brandished in the knife. Yukidoh-kun! Stop her! How could this happen? How could this happen? Yukidoh-kun! I regained my composure, seeing a Tori facing Itsami with the knife held over her head, entering my vision. Do something, I have to do something, this is a dream. I hit the radio at my feet and ran at Tori from behind her. All my strength, I threw the radio at the arm that held the knife. The radio connects with her wrist, the knife dropped to the floor. Unflinchingly, Tori turned around and started hitting me, grabbed her arms tightly and pinned them to her sides. Stop it! I frantically tried to suppress Tori's violent struggling. I'm begging you to stop it already. Tears blurred my vision. Through blurry eyes, I saw Itsami pick up the knife. With sharp eyes, she looked at me. No, she was glaring at Tori, who I was pinning down. Itsumi lowered her stance and readied the knife. What is she? Die! Huh? It was a completely unconscious movement. I covered Tori with my body instantly. Itsumi quickly stopped herself. Not missing the chance, I knocked her hand away while she was still dazed. The knife flew out of Itsumi's hand. Huh? The knife slid across the floor and disappeared underneath a shelf. Itsumi glared at her. There was a carnage in her hate-filled eyes. Why? I could do nothing but stare back at Itsumi in blank surprise. And then a sharp pain ran through my right hand. There was a gaping cut in the palm of my right hand. Blood began to flow from it. How dare you! Itsumi muttered with loathing, but biting her lip. And then turning her back to us, she climbed back up the stairs. I stood there frozen. Silence returned to the once chaotic basement. I could hear someone wheezing roughly. As I wondered who it was, I realized that it was me who was coughing. Tori lost consciousness. Uni is... I'm still alive, you bastard! Help me! He was crouched down, putting pressure on his wound. Thank goodness he's alive. I headed over to Uni with sluggish steps. Uni's whole body jerked in surprise. Stay away! I couldn't find any words with which to respond to his voice full of dread. Uni looked up. His wound was dyed in blood. The spurting blood turned into scattered spots upon its concrete. However, Uni stared at me with frightened eyes, not even bothering to wipe up the blood. He stood back with a look of panic in his face. Stay away! Stay away! Don't kill me! Let me see your wound. I reached out my hand covered in blood. Don't touch me with that hand! Don't be afraid, I'm Cocoro. No! Even though I'm Cocoro? Discouraged, I crumbled where I stood. There was a pool of blood gathering under a man's corpse. My hand was drenched with blood. Blood continued to flow from Uni's wound as well. Blood. The basement storeroom was becoming a red hell filled with the scene of blood. Who can I believe in? What can I believe in? Hey Satoru, save me. No more. Slowly I lost consciousness. Fifth day. 15. Small respite. The frigid air woke me. It seems I had fallen asleep without realizing it. Felt like I had gotten a lot weaker. After the chaos at Sphere, my consciousness returned to the cabin. At that time, it was already late at night. However, since I was fixated on the idea you go to sleep and you'll die, I just stayed awake. In the end, no matter how many times I began to doze off, I was awakened by the cold again. Looking at my watch, it was 1:30. Couldn't confirm the time before I fell asleep. Even though it was afternoon, it seemed dark and gloomy outside. It was as if the sun had disappeared. I look out the window. I looked outside from the window. The window was completely frosted over with snow, so the outside scenery could hardly be seen. but there was a terribly roar coming from outside. We were in the thick of a violent blizzard. The raging wind and snow repeatedly slammed against the window, creating the uneasy impression that it might crack at any moment. I looked away from the window. Everyone in the shelter cabin had already woken up. They were all shivering. None of them started a conversation and simply crouched where they were shivering. The fire on the stove had gone out a while ago. The last of the firewood had been used up last night. We didn't have anything left to burn. I thought it was cold even with the stove on, but now that the fire's burnt out, the cold is beyond all comparison. I couldn't stop my body from shivering even when I wanted to. I was wearing several layers of coats and wrapping myself in a blanket on top of that, but they had no effect at all. My fingers and toes felt a pain like being pierced by needles. Touching my own hand, I was shocked at how terribly cold it felt. My hands wouldn't warm up even if I blew on them or rubbed them together. Touching my hair, I found that parts of it had frozen from the cold. Tears welled up in my eyes as I combed my hair with my fingers over and over again. It had likely gotten wet when I went out to get snow or water the other night, and had frozen just like that. Yomogi had said water was the thing most important for living. In the last rationing of water, we divided it into four PET bottles. The four of us each had a bottle. I didn't want to imagine what would happen when this water ran out. Even Uni, who'd been so simple-mindedly energetic until yesterday, and Yomogi, who'd kept us calm with his composure, were curling themselves up. Everyone, including Meizumi, was wearing a hollow expression. Their complexions were blue and lacking life. If their eyes had been closed and their lips weren't trembling, I wouldn't be able to tell whether they were dead or alive. To them, that was how much the feeling of hopelessness had begun to drift over everyone. It was a terrible atmosphere, even though I thought that I myself didn't feel any hope. It wasn't in any position to encourage the others. We had already taken refuge in this cabin for 5 days. There'd been no sign that a search party was coming around. In the snowstorm, help probably won't come today either. There's no guarantee that it'll come up by tomorrow, and there are no grounds to believe that they will come tomorrow even if it did. All of my thoughts were turning negative. Maybe the entire world has forgotten about us. Maybe no one even noticed the plane had crashed. Even though that shouldn't be, I inadvertently think it, and my chest is gripped with anxiety. On top of that, I'm carrying another troublesome problem. What happened to Sphere had become vague in my mind because of the transfer, but does Satoru resolve that messed up situation? Who attacked Satoru? Who can I believe in? Who's the man that died? What was the transfer phenomenon of being experienced in the first place? I started pondering all of this with the mind slurred by cold and lack of sleep. Maybe the personality transfer is a dream. I curved my dried and curved cracked lips. I've asked myself that unproductive question over and over again. If that really was the case, how relieved I would be, how the transfer phenomenon is reality. Cocoro? Raising my head, I saw that Uni had come up in front of me before I noticed. His muttering voice wavered from the cold. Can I sit next to you? I nodded to open up space on my bed for Uni. I ripped my blanket to invite Uni in. Uni and I piled up 2 blankets up together as we both cover ourselves with them. And then, hey, I'm hungry. Uni whispered while blushing. As I'd skipped breakfast as well, I was famished too. That's right. Oh, my speech is slurred. Let's eat then. I take out the can from the vinyl bag under my pillow. As there was remaining food supply for 3 people, me, Uni, and Yomogi. I faced Yomogi and signaled him with my eyes, but he shook his head lightly. I raised my eyes to the top bunk bed where Meizumi was, and with only my lips mouthed, here we go, to Uni. I take just a bit of the hard tack from the can, hold out half my biscuit to Uni. Is it okay? Yep. Uni smiled weakly. Thank you. Together we snapped the biscuit in 2. It wasn't enough to relieve my hunger, but mentally, I felt a bit better. Hey, when we eat next, I'll give Cocoro the bigger half. You don't need to push yourself. I'm okay. But if it's for Cocoro, then I can enjoy a little hunger. Okay. Okay? Uni. I loved the sweetness of Uni so much it was almost unbearable. The tears I'd been holding back until now overflowed, all of it at once. Clinton expressed the tears, choked back the tears. Yeah. The more I think about choking back the tears, the harder it is to suppress them. Couldn't stand back anymore, even though it wouldn't be right to cry with little Uni in front of me. Uni, Uni! His kindness pierced my chest. It felt like a light had begun to twinkle from the depths of my heart, which had become dark from despair. Cocoro, what's wrong? Why are you crying? Did I say something bad? I shook my head and softly embraced Uni. Uni, you're so kind. The kindness gave me courage and hope. Dwelling within this small child was a glittering purity that had saved me. I was embarrassed at myself for becoming weak-heartedly. Uni grasped my hand. It was small, but it was certainly reassuring. Inside his hand, he was gripping a charm. Is this a protective charm? Uni looked slightly embarrassed. Nice, huh? It was a tiny charm. Normally I didn't believe in God, but if only for now, the existence of this charm felt very reliable. Hey, let's both say a prayer to God. I noted Uni's words. Under normal circumstances, I'd have been too embarrassed to do so, but this was an exception. Together, Uni and I both grasped the charm firmly. Within my heart, I prayed with all my might. Somehow, please protect us. I slowly closed my eyes. Uni's small body was friendly warm. I truly feel it. As long as his warmth is here, I won't be alone. I have comrades that can help me. As long as Uni and Yamagi are here, I'll do my best to survive. Oh boy. Frightens and is frightened. For a minute, trembling from the cold, it transformed into a feeling of lethargy. I opened my eyes. I saw the white walls of Sphere. I was sitting on Satoru's bed. I jumped again. Sphere had functional heating, unlike the freezing, cold shelter pack cabin. There was food here too. However, I wasn't the least bit happy, because in Sphere the presence of a murderous monster was constantly approaching me. When I tried to stand up... What the hell? What is this? My vision distorted. On top of that, I couldn't put any strength into my body at all, as if all my bones had been removed. I fell to my knees. I tried to get up, but my body wouldn't listen to me. None of the muscles in my body were responding. I couldn't move an arm or even lift a single finger. Just what is going on? I tried to mutter, but my mouth and tongue wouldn't move how I wanted them to. My voice wouldn't come forth either. But still, even with my body unable to move, my mind was completely clear. What's happening? One more try, I tell myself. It's odd. No matter how you look at it, this is odd. I'm not exactly sure but something definitely happened to Satoru's body. On top of that, it was critically abnormal. Move! Please move already. I put everything I have into moving my limbs. Focusing my concentration on my fingertips slowly yet impatiently, I did everything I could to put strength into them. How long did this go on? By the time I was able to lift it even slightly, my body was covered in sweat. I dragged my drowsy body to the edge of the bed and sat down. To speak comparatively, it was as if my whole body had been assaulted with lethargy. I felt dizzy again. What was going on with my body? Panic struck me as I realized that this condition might be permanent. Shaking my head lightly, I staggered to stand up. I was somehow able to manage that much. However, my legs felt so unreliable, as if they'd fallen on me as soon as I let my guard down. It was probably the first time since birth that it's taken me this much effort just to stand up and move. I felt as if my body had degenerated terribly. I turned my arm slightly. I couldn't put that much strength into it, and my body continued to stagger, but I didn't feel any pain. There doesn't seem to be any injuries besides my left arm that got cut the other day, as well as the right arm. And why? I pondered the cause of the situation. I wasn't injured. My hand felt particularly clear, and it didn't seem like I was sick either. Then what? Then I suddenly realized there was someone trying to kill Satoru. Pushing him off a building, stabbing, drowning. They used many different methods to try and murder Satoru. And now the next method this person attempted to use was... It can't be... poisoning? In other words, what my body is experiencing right now is due to some sort of drug? I shuddered at the thought. My vision became distorted once again. I crouched down when it seemed like I was going to fall. Going as far as using poison to kill is just too much. The murderous monster was ready to kill Satoru by any means. Could it be that the knife had poison on it? And when we reached to get it, we were cut, and that's how we were poisoned? The murderous monster was ready to kill Satoru by any means. I squeezed my eyes shut and struggled clutched to my shoulders. No more. Stop it already. Unable to stand the fear, tears began to flow from my eyes. How many times will I have to go through this? Slowly up my eyes and the dizziness began to recede. The feeling of lethargy attacking my body began to lessen as well. Maybe the symptoms appear and disappear in waves. What should I do? That's right. I decided to leave a note for Satoru. I don't know what kind of drug he took, or was it injected, but I'll have to deal with it myself. In times of crisis like this, we have to keep in especially close communication with each other. I looked towards the notepad. Because Satoru's hands were under the influence of the drug, I could feel how the grip had weakened. It was my dominant hand, but I honestly grabbed hold of the pen with my right hand and began writing a message to Satoru. It's Cocoro. There's something strange going on with your body. What happened? Did someone make you take poison? Please tell me. Even just a little is fine, so tell me. I paused. Teardrops fell into the notepad. The ink ran and blurred. Fear, irrationality, loneliness, sorrow. All these emotions piled on top of each other were pressing down hard on my heart. Unable to bear the pain, the tears began to fall one after another. Without wiping them away, I continued to write. As if to say this was my only remaining method of resistance, I single-mindedly continued to run my pen across the paper. I don't want to die. I don't want you to die either, Satoru. What should I do? What should I do to help? I'm scared. I'm very, very scared. I have no idea why this is happening. I don't even know what will happen 5 minutes from now. I don't know who I can believe in either. Hey, Satoru. I want to meet you. Even a single glance is fine. But I want to meet you. Because the other reflected in the mirror isn't you, it's me. I want to meet the you that's really you. Because there's no one I can believe in but you, Satoru. And I don't want you to tell me that everything's alright. I want you to tell me that there's nothing to worry about. I put down the pen and wiped away the tears. The things I wrote in the message were my true feelings. It was almost like a confession of love, but I think it's different from that. I want to cling to someone. I want to cling to someone for them to say to me, don't worry, you can relax now. I wanted someone to hold me tight and say those words. I think I wanted to escape from this unstable situation by clinging to someone. I think my mind's already reached its limit. A sound came from the direction of the door. I quickly raised my head. I saw Uni peeking in through the slightly open door. Realizing he'd been spotted, Uni's face filled with anxiety. As though to escape, he made to run away. What's wrong? Wait! I forcibly stood up. I stagger and there's still some slight dizziness. My body wouldn't move the way I wanted it to, as if it was made out of jelly. But even so, I pushed my arms and legs. Uni pushed into his own room. I followed after him. Entering the room, I saw Uni's frightened eyes stare back at me. Don't come near me! What's wrong? What are you afraid of? As I neared him, Uni pulled himself back as if trying to get away. You don't have to run away. Don't be afraid, it's me. Fuyukawa Cocoro. Uni shook his head almost hard enough to make a sound. No, that's wrong. Satoru's just sick. So, Uni retreated even further, his face distorted in fear. Ah, look out! Huh? As he was walking backwards, Uni's foot bumped into the table. With that, he tumbled to the floor. Ugh! By chance, Uni's forehead stuck the edge of the bed as he fell. Uni! Panicking, I rushed over to him and helped him sit up. Uni pushed his hands against his forehead. It hurts, it hurts! Are you alright? Let me have a look. Pushing back his hair, I saw that Uni's forehead had a new injury. Probably due to the shock of the collision, Uni's bandages had peeled off and dropped to the floor. This was probably the one applied to the cut Tori had given him the other day. I thought that it had bled quite a lot at the time, but the cut itself was actually shallow. Ugh. Tears were forming in Uni's large eyes. Hey, you're a boy, right? Don't cry. Jesus, there's no other choice then. I gave Uni's forehead a small kiss. Pain, fly away to Andromeda. I saw Uni's eyes widen in surprise. My mother often did this for me, you know. Mysterious charm that makes you forget all about the pain in one blow. I embraced Uni's thin body closely. I buried my face in his hair. It's okay, there's nothing to worry about. However... Ugh! I was thrust about Uni. He had done it much more forcibly than I expected. Stop it! Don't touch me! Uni shouted and turned to and ran away. That had been pure terror in his face. Uni! I was left alone in the room. Even though the room wasn't very wide, it felt extraordinarily vast to me. Why did he run away? Was it because he felt grossed out at the forehead being kissed while I looked like Satoru? Or was it, "It's okay, there's nothing to worry about"? These were the words I was wishing for, the words I wanted to hear said to me. There was no one to say these words to me, so I used them myself on Uni. Under the guise of worrying about Uni, I might have only been thinking about myself. Maybe being sensitive, Uni was able to see through my heart. I don't know anything. The only thing I did know was that the remaining warmth left by Uni felt extremely lonely. Even so, I decided to run after Uni, because losing Uni would be unbearably sorrowfully for me. Uni ran in direction of Hattori's room. I began to chase after Uni. Oh boy.